Yeah, I'm still waiting for that Winners at War reunion show. Is that just me? After 20 years and 40 seasons of Survivor, each season has concluded with what is called the Survivor Reunion, where all contestants come together and they discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of their seasons. Some contestants get praised, while some get put on the spot, and of course there have been some pretty controversial moments as well. Today at Analytical Strategy, I want to count down some of the most awkward Survivor reunion moments in the history of the game. Now, looking back on early day Survivor, there were definitely some shocking moments watching it in the modern era. But don't make things awkward and unite yourself with my channel by smashing that subscribe button to stay tuned for more Survivor videos each and every week. But seriously, Winners at War reunion, where are you at? So firstly, we're going to kick things off and talk about an instance from Survivor Nicaragua, where two of the self-proclaimed greatest bachelors of America came head-to-head at Tribal Council. Sash let Shannon know that he was digging his own grave in the way that he was playing the game, and Shannon comes back at Sash with an absolute zinger of an insult and asking Sash, "Are you gay?" Now, rather than Sash trying to educate Shannon and being like, "What would it matter if I were?" or "There's absolutely nothing wrong with being gay," why even try to say it as an insult? He decides to go down the egotistical route of boasting about all the women he gets in New York and how many beautiful girlfriends he's had. Anyway, this crazy tribal was revisited at the Nicaragua reunion show, where Jeff gives Shannon the opportunity to so-called redeem himself. And Shannon's immediate reaction is, "What for? I was calling a duck a duck. He may have became a chicken in the end, but I was calling a duck a duck." I mean, sure, people may say things they might not want to when they haven't slept in the game and they're playing in a game of psychological manipulation, but it's not often where Jeff gives the contestants a chance to go back on what they say, but then for that person to basically say, "Nah, I'm good with what I said," and then just bury themselves in a deeper hole. But hey, Shannon, you found a way to do it. Now, following Shannon, we're going to go with an interaction between Kat and Jeff within the Survivor Blood vs. Water reunion show. Now, Kat was known as being a pretty kooky character within her initial appearance within Survivor One World, before she was blindsided by her bestie in Kim and being absolutely devastated once she went home. She then returned with her then boyfriend at the time in Hayden Moss, winner of Big Brother in Survivor Blood vs. Water. And prior to Kat being eliminated this season, she had a very funny interaction with Hayden, asking him not to break up with her for not making the merge. Now, Jeff addressed this at the reunion, with them at the time being in a long-distance relationship, which I'm sure can be difficult for any couple out there. But Kat continued to make references to changes to herself to get on Hayden's level, and being top-heavy whilst gesturing to the upper half of her body, with Hayden just sitting there awkwardly and laughing in a nervous manner. Now, after a couple of awkward moments, Jeff eventually bites the bullet and asks if she made changes to her body so Hayden would stay with her, to which she said no, but boy oh boy was this a bizarre moment. I'm hoping Kat was just trying to be funny in this circumstance, by somewhat referencing having to make some changes in order for Hayden to like her, as she didn't make the merge in the end, and didn't really actually think she needed to make said changes to appeal to Hayden, as no one should have to feel that way. But in the end it was not meant to be, and they did break up shortly after the show. And whilst I'm not sure if it's exactly true, I also heard she ended up dating the most badass manipulator this game has ever seen in Drew Christie for a while as well. Which of course does make some sense, as he also failed to make the merge. So we're now going to move on to the Survivor China reunion, where there were a couple of inappropriate questions from the host of the show in Jeff Probes, to put it politely. Now, Jeff in reunions wasn't afraid, especially in the older seasons of Survivor, to push the boundaries a little bit. Especially if there was a love affair going on after the show finished. Jeff would make sure that it was a hot topic within each reunion show. Now, in this season, there was an alliance of Jamie and Eric, where Eric mentioned at some point in the show that he was still a virgin, as he was waiting until marriage, I believe. Something that's really not that uncommon of a circumstance for your average person who is highly religious, from what I know. So yes, it's something which is a pretty common occurrence. So Jeff kicks things off by starting on Jamie, asking about their relationship in the season, to which Jamie responds she did in fact like him in the game, but she didn't want to make it too obvious so they wouldn't be perceived as a power couple. But after filming they did in fact get together and they were currently dating. Now Jeff immediately turns to Eric, puts him on the spot and asks him that now that they are currently dating, is he still a virgin? To which Eric's response is, "Of course I am," as they were just starting out dating and they obviously weren't married. It was an extremely awkward and really unnecessary moment, and one that Eric seems obviously embarrassed about being put on the spot. And of course, John Robert has to chime in at the same time with one of his classic misogynistic catchphrases of, "What's better than $1 million? Is $1 million and some?" But in better news, the relationship of Jamie and Eric continued to blossom well and truly after the show, and they are still together today. And they now have a family together, so it's one of many Survivor love affairs that have lasted a long time. Now, I also just quickly want to touch upon yet another inappropriate question within this reunion, directed at the great Courtney Yates. And really, this was extremely uncomfortable for Courtney and also the viewers to watch. He questioned her about potentially being anorexic, but not just questioning her, he did it really aggressively and almost in a confrontational way. Anorexic? Eating disorder? What's the deal? Answer the question, he said. Courtney answered this question very maturely. She didn't take any offence, and it is something that she's been dealing with her whole life. And she even took some light-hearted approach on it. As Jeff said, she weighed more than she did now than when she started the show. And Courtney said very light-heartedly, "Jeff Probst called me fat." Courtney should be super proud of the game she played, and how difficult it must have been for her in a game like Survivor, as she doesn't have as many resources to pull from as some of these bigger, bulkier players. She is an absolute legend of Survivor, and one player that I could watch play over and over again. And to finish things up, in potentially the most awkward moment in not just a Survivor reunion show, not just on Survivor, but maybe, just maybe in the history of mankind, is David's proposal to Carolina in the Redemption Island reunion show. So as previously mentioned, if there is a Survivor love story out there, Jeff will find it, he will love to hear about it, and it will be on a reunion show. And there looked to be a new one between this season's David Murphy and former Tocantins contestant, Carolina Eastwood. So Jeff starts by just probing David a little bit about his love life and how it's all going, where he does reveal he is in this relationship with Carolina, it has commenced, and even though it did take some time to convince her to like him, they are now in this committed relationship. So between Redemption Island ending and the reunion show airing, they've probably been together for say a maximum 6 to 12 months at this stage. Jeff then patiently waits for David to make the move, to pop the question, as David obviously organised this in advance. And then he has to probe him more, asking him how well this relationship is going. Is it going so well that you would maybe, say, make it official? David then eventually arises from his chair, and he begins to walk to Carolina, and let's just say, she doesn't look too thrilled, to put it politely. I believe the quotes, "Shut it down right now, shut it down," and "Survivor loves blindsiding me" were used before she ended up saying yes to him. It seemed pretty obvious that she really wanted to say no in this situation, but she did not want to embarrass her boyfriend, so in the end she did crumble and agreed to his proposal. Now this became even more awkward as this relationship did not last, and I believe it ended with David actually cheating on Carolina with another Survivor contestant in Alicia from Survivor One World. Yeah, it really doesn't get much more awkward than this. But the cherry on top is the original proposal reunion queen was just watching it in the background in Amber Mariano, thinking, man, hey, that was my biggest Survivor move, don't even try and steal it from me. So these were just some of the most awkward Survivor reunion moments in the history of the show. Let me know some of your favourites down in the comments and they may be included in a future video. Thanks for not being awkward and continuing to support the channel. You're all a bunch of absolute legends and your support and engagement really means a lot. If you're new, hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for future videos. It's quick, it's free, and it's easy. That's all from me now. This is Analytical Strategy signing out, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.